Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joy at Work. Can you believe it's December already? Wow, time truly flies, doesn't it? Unfortunately, my Gunners are not doing that well in the Premier League, but I'm optimistic that they'll bounce back here shortly. Today, I want to talk about or continue the conversation around needs, feelings, and behaviors. Last time, I talked about how all of us have essentially the same needs, whether it's peace, meaning autonomy, physical safety, connection, play. All human beings have those same fundamental needs that we need, excuse the pun, to have satisfied. And when a need's not met, when we have unmet needs, we experience feelings, and we differ in the feelings we experience. Some people, again, when they're hungry, they get angry, hangry. Some people, when they're hungry, they go sleep or become very quiet. But these feelings that we have internally exhibit themselves in different ways. And so we also have different behaviors. So unmet needs lead to internal feelings, which get expressed as behaviors externally. And everyone deals with this. We all go through periods where our needs are not being met. But one of the more interesting things about unmet needs, at least for me, is the the tension that we often have with our needs not being met in the way we desire for them to be met, right? So it's not just that our needs are not met, it's really that our needs are not met in the way we want them to be met. So, I have a need for autonomy, and I expect that this need is going to be met in a certain way. Maybe no one's ever going to talk to me during the workday. I'm just going to be able to work by myself and not even collaborate with other people because I want to be autonomous. I don't expect anyone to check in to say, here's what, or check in to say, how are things going, or how do you need my help? That's just an example of how I want my need for autonomy to be met. And often there's pretty much a disconnect between how we want our needs to be met and how our larger organizational context expects needs to be met, right? So I expect my needs to be met in a very particular way, but the large organization has other things in place that deal with that. And it's not just in the place where you work, but in your family life, in your hobbies and other things you do in life. You probably have the ways you want your need to be met, but the larger organizational or societal unit that you belong to has its own perspective on how your needs should be met. And so this is why it's important for us to take a step back when we have unmet needs and we're feeling some kind of way, to ask ourselves, am I really stuck in a place where I'm feeling despondent, angry, sad because this needs not being met at all? Or am I feeling this way because this needs not being met in the way I want it to be met? And it's not bad to have a desire for your needs to be met in a certain way. Sometimes that's important. But there are other times where we need to look past kind of the means and kind of say to ourselves, hey, if my needs being met in this way through this means, then that's okay as well. Maybe it wasn't my preferred path, or maybe it's not the path that I would choose, but it is a path if I step back and I say to myself, let me think about this more broadly, that I'm actually getting my needs met. So one of the things that we experience in life is this disconnect between how we want our needs to be met and how our needs are actually getting met. Sometimes our needs are not being met at all. And then it's the appropriate to stop and say, hey, how can I meet this need? But we shouldn't confuse a need not being met at all with a need being met in a different way. And for some of us, sometimes that's one and the same thing. And I can understand that because the way we want our needs to be met is extremely important to us. But if we take a step back, we might be able to see that, hey, my needs being met in a different way, or that we even have the opportunity to get creative about meeting that need in a different way as well. So, again, not the path that maybe we walked in thinking we'd follow, but a different path that gets us to a place where our need is ultimately met. So there's several ways that we can think about this notion of unmet needs. And when we address our unmet needs, then those feelings, especially the negative feelings, right? Because when we have unmet needs, it leads to negative feelings. Those negative feelings are no longer there. Our behaviors are positive. We're better teammates, better friends, better spouses, better just people in general. So think about it. What needs are not being met for you personally right now? Back to joy at work, and ask yourself, is it that the needs not being met at all, or is it maybe that the needs not being met in the way I want it to be met? And then think about how important that is and what you can do about it. And maybe there's something you can change that will help you out. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to Joy at Work. Have a wonderful day.